We are potentially days away from nuclear war happening, the start of World War III. You have Canada absolutely melting from too much immigration to conservative MPs here in Canada are supporting the continuation of our excess immigration. You also have a bit of an invasion happening in the streets of Canada. You have a whole lot of news in this video, so I highly recommend that you guys stick around for the entire thing or as much as you possibly can, because this is going to be a very in-depth video. And once again, I'm not on camera because I'm out with my family, so I do apologize for my pretty face, the absence of it, but I will be back very shortly. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video, everybody. Before we get into it, I do want to encourage you all to smash the like button and subscribe if you haven't yet already. It does really help grow the channel. Since this is a Canadian channel, I do like to start off by looking at the Canadian polls. So right now you have the Conservative Party of Canada, Pierre Poilievre, sitting at 212 projected seats, looking very, very good, with a bottom line of 179 and a top end of 232. That is a very good position to be before going into the reboot of Parliament at the end of September. We're approaching about the 1 month mark of when they will resume their debates and get back into the House doing their job. These politicians somehow only work half of the year intermittently, but nonetheless, we're going to see some awesome debates, some awesome back and forth where Justin Trudeau cannot hide. He's going to have to face Pierre Poilievre, which is one of the benefits of Canadian democracy here. Justin Trudeau sitting at 69 projected seats and Jagmeet only at 22 projected seats. Now, we're going to be focusing a tiny bit on Jagmeet Singh very, very soon in this video, so stick around for that. And you have the Conservatives sitting 99% likely across the board for winning the most seats and odds of a majority government, which is what we really, really want to see here in Canada to be able to push some bills through. And before we get into all the Canadian stuff, I do want to talk about a few different American news pieces. So you have Jake Paul announcing that he's going to be competing in the 2028 Olympics for boxing. He is sick and tired of watching American boxing fail or American athletes being subject to the wokeism of the Olympics. So he's going to fight in, we don't know yet if it'll be the male or the female category, but nonetheless, Jake Paul will be fighting. And then you have this flight here, flight 2283, that absolutely just tanked in Brazil. It just lost all its momentum. People are saying down in the comments that it was an overcorrection on a turn, and this error cost the lives of 70 plus people on that flight. It's still a developing story, so stay tuned to see more of what is happening from that. We also have New York PD officer brutally demolishes a repeat offender and humiliates him by pulling his pants down in front of a group of people after he punched a female officer. You can see down here in the comments, woman cop is bleeding because this repeat offender was let out onto the streets of New York and the police did not hold anything back, and this is all on camera. And this is what happens with liberal cities. You have just absolute shit show here. We have the same problems here in Canada where repeat offenders are let back out into the streets, and of course it increases crime. And speaking of increase, you have increase of tensions here where Joe Biden, United States, Qatar, and Egypt all call for an immediate ceasefire in the Gaza Strip. This is because of the ongoing increased tensions between Israel and Iran, and they are just absolutely ready to pull the buttons there and start nuking each other. And it's about to get out of hand, but they are trying to stop it before it happens. Situations are very, very tense, and we're going to have to wait and see how it develops. Then you have London here in a video where it's very unrecognizable. The same thing is happening in Canada, but you're gonna have to just wait and see that video because there is a bit of a takeover here in London, England, and the same thing is unfortunately happening here in Canada. And this is all due to mass immigration, which is extremely controversial because immigration has never really been a problem, but until recently, targeted immigration and all of that stuff. But here we are facing with this massive issue. But let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. Next up in global news, you have Macron, who's been caught apparently kissing some dudes and having this weird sort of orgy. Not surprising. And hey, look, there's nothing wrong with that. But we're going to have to see how that unravels, because you have these photos that have come out of Macron and Justin Trudeau that look like they are in a bit of an entanglement, right? So maybe Justin Trudeau is being cheated on by this other guy. We're going to have to wait and see how this unravels up. Then you have Jagmeet Singh, who is absolutely tanking in the polls, absolutely losing it. And he's making this video here saying, hey, you guys, yeah, you, anybody, please, anybody, throw us a bone and come and join the NDP. We need you.
You should run for parliament. Yeah, you. We need you. We need young people. We need women, activists, real working people to run for the NDP. Because here's the thing. The Liberals and Conservatives, their candidates and their parties have been helping out their corporate buddies. They've written the rules to benefit the super rich, and they've been ripping off people. We want to change that. We want to change that by electing more New Democrats. We're going to fight to change the rules to help out people for once. So we just nominated our 50th candidate. 50 people, real people, with different stories, different jobs, who are all committed to fighting for a Canada where we lift up people, where we make people the priority, not rich corporations. So if you're interested in running and joining our team in Ottawa to fight for people, text me #candidate.
And this is very, very funny because he just went on breakfast television, a liberal-leaning, woke, progressive TV channel here in Canada, and he did an interview complaining about how Pierre Poilievre and the Conservative Party, they're attacking him and yada yada yada, and he's just crying, right? So I do have a video coming out later on my extra channel about this and a very detailed breakdown. I highly recommend you guys go check that out, but it's not looking good for Jagmeet. On the flip side of things, breaking news, Pat King has been released on bail, and you even have Tamara Leach here in the comments saying, thank God we do have political prisoners here in Canada, and it's just becoming more and more obvious, right? And so let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. Are you happy that Pat King is now out on bail? Let me know what you guys think. Then you have this very interesting post here about someone who worked for the CRA, which, by the way, CRA has the most employees out of any single government position, out of any single position ever or company ever in all of Canada. It has over 57,000 employees. It doesn't make any sense at all. But this individual right here used to work for CRA. Then CRA laid her off while she was on maternity leave, which I believe is illegal. CRA didn't submit her ROE to CRA. So now CRA won't fulfill her EI benefits while she's on mat leave until they get the paper copy of her ROE from CRA. I am not laughing at her expense. I'm just laughing at how ironic it is that they're the ones that have to file the work. They're the ones that let her go. They're the ones that have to push the paperwork in which they have filed. And it just seems very sadistic, which is pretty much how she ends her post here. This has got to be some sort of cruel joke. And this post absolutely blew up with over 617,000 views on X. I highly, highly recommend you go showing support with this person here by liking it so more people can see it, so that CRA can be held accountable. They are so incompetent. It is absolutely disgusting. And then in other Canadian news, you have CSIS that says, has a stranger ever tried to inflate your ego? It could be elicitation. Elicitation is a set of techniques used by foreign agents to extract information from you. To learn the warning signs of elicitation, read the CSIS Travel Security Guide. So basically, they're saying, hey, is anyone from a foreign government or foreign entity or not from Canada trying to get information from you of what's going on here in Canada? Reported immediately. It's very, very funny. And you have one of the top comments here saying, use English, people are stupid. Has anyone offered you money to spy on Canada and send that info outside of Canada? Don't do that, please. I mean, that is pretty much common sense. But let me know, has anyone ever contacted you guys for information about Canada? Let me know down in the comments. And then you have this post here that's blown up with over 500,000 views. Someone who's actually saying thank you, Justin Trudeau, for, and Jagmeet Singh. Here's the $400 bill for the 2 filings I had today. With the new national dental plan, I paid $35.42, which would have otherwise been $401.60. And the top comment is, you should be thanking the Canadians that paid for it and not the politician. That is pretty accurate and very true. Let me know what you guys think about this. In theory, these programs, they seem good. And in a time and place in history where an economy is doing fine, people are thriving, wages are matching inflation, housing is affordable, grocery prices are good, everything is fine, right? Things aren't too expensive. Then in those very rare instances, it makes sense for these social programs to be rolled out if we got excess money. But right now we are in a multi-billion-dollar deficit year over year, and it just doesn't make sense to be pumping this much money into social programs when we could be using these billions of dollars to pay off our debt and get back to a thriving economy. Canada is just borrowing and borrowing money, and it's never going well. And speaking of borrowing more money, you have this post here where Justin Trudeau says, reminder, Liberals are proudly pro-choice and always will be. And while you're here, take a look at our plan to make contraceptives and the morning after pill free, all paid by taxpayers. So we're going to be paying more and more billions of dollars for these things to be made free. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. Now, Justin Trudeau, this is very interesting. This has gone silent, okay? Justin Trudeau has been pumping millions of dollars. In fact, there's been a $3 million budget to look at all of the residential school unmarked graves. And they've just announced secretly, you probably never even heard of this until right now, that they are reducing it from $3 million to $500,000. Someone saying that's 84% cut. Does the Liberal government care about the commitment it made to victims' families? And the top comment here is, what graves? After pumping millions of dollars into searching for the unmarked graves, they have come up with nothing, right? Absolutely no result. I think it's just been a bunch of stones that have been unturned, and they haven't actually found any bodies or bones from these graves, right? And so that's a lot of money that's going into something that hasn't provided the results. Let me know if you guys are pro the decision to cut the funding or if you're against it, and if so, why? Let me know down below in the comments. Now you have, this is kind of very atrocious, if I'm being honest. Canadian taxpayers paid for affordable housing, and the result of affordable housing is 400 square feet per units, and it's costing $2,600 per month. And the top comment here says that they consider folks with low income up to $190,000. That's right, folks. $190,000 a year salary in Canada is considered low income, and you are eligible for government subsidies for affordable housing. That is insane. $90,000 a year 10 years ago, if your household made that income, that was like rich. You were rich. You had a trampoline in your yard. People had, 5-year-old cars. They had 2,000 plus square foot homes. You were sitting really, really well. You'd go on vacation. $90,000 and above, $80,000 and above. Salary was like mint. That was really good money. Making $100,000 a year was like, man, those people are rich. That is awesome. That's how pretty much most of Canada viewed salaries 10 years ago. And now the government is saying Nope, you're considered low income if you have just under $200,000. This doesn't make any sense. Canada doesn't make any sense, and I'm certain to think that Canada isn't even a real place with these made up numbers. And in Canada, the rent is so expensive, you're eligible for poverty assistance, even if you're making $115,000, folks. This is a screenshot from a government website. Affordable housing. You get grants. You get grants for up to $23.95 a month if you make $115,000. Wow, I never thought in a million years that people with $100,000+ would be eligible for low income housing. But this is the state of Canada, folks. This is what we are dealing with. In fact, it's so bad that the average Canadian family now spends $47,000 a year on taxes. That is more than food and shelter combined. That is atrocious. That is so sad. No wonder so many people are just pissed off with the government. And speaking of pissed off with the government, I made this tweet that got over 500,000 views a couple of months ago. Okay, can somebody please explain to me what the actual F is going on with immigration in Canada? It turns out a shit ton of people agreed with that. And so that's really an interesting segue into what is happening right now. So 0 new jobs, 1.2 million new immigrants to Canada. Welcome to 2024. This doesn't make any sense. If you're wondering, where are all the people? Where are all these people making their money? Guys, if you immigrate to Canada, you get hundreds of dollars per day. The government is giving new immigrants thousands, tens of thousands, millions of dollars per year over and over and over again to encourage more people to come here and to immigrate here. And then it's costing us more and more money, and we're not creating new jobs. This is just setting the precedent for absolute failure. It doesn't make any sense. Nobody agrees with this. And this is kind of what Canada is right now. I shared this video and I said, does anyone even recognize Canada anymore? And a lot of people say that they don't. This is downtown Toronto, Yonge and Dundas, soon to be something different. We don't even know. You have thousands of people blocking the streets and doing prayers downtown Toronto with Palestinian flags in support of Palestine. We're going to touch on those protests in just a few moments. But first, we need to take a look at this video of Pierre Poilievre. Now, look, I don't like to talk badly about Pierre Poilievre. I like the guy. I like his policies. There's just certain things that have come up recently. We're going to start with this video, and then we're going to take a look at what Danielle Smith just said, because this is such a touchy subject, folks. And I'm not trying to split any votes. I'm not trying to divide anybody. I'm just trying to show the news and show people what is really going on, all right? We need some nationalism here in Canada. We need people to be pro-Canada. And when videos like this come out, it just seems a little bit concerning. But let's take a look, and then let's take a look at what Danielle Smith also says.
Stop the deportations. Listen, we have a worker shortage in Canada. We have a demographic problem. Our population is too old. We need 700 young people. We need 700 young people to work in our factories, in our hospitals, in our shopping centers, driving truck, being accountants, lawyers, doctors. We need these workers in our country. It makes no sense for Canada to send them back when they could stay here and earn powerful paychecks and raise their families in peace. So, shame on Justin Trudeau for trying to deport these wonderful students. Stop the deportations. Keep the students here. Allow them to apply just like everyone else for permanent residency. The Conservatives will continue to fight for the students. Stop.
And so this is where it becomes really tricky, because I have been raised with these values. I've been raised that immigration isn't a problem, right? Canada is a multicultural place. That's just how it's been. That's just our identity. Whether you agree with that or disagree with that, let me know down in the comments and why you have those opinions. But nonetheless, by definition, that's apparently our definition of Canada's culture, multiculturalism, right? And it's becoming more and more concerning because you're letting in so many immigrants. People are skipping the lines of permanent residence applications. People are seeking asylum in the masses now, and it just seems like there is this open door policy, and it's affecting us people, us Canadians that are living here, that have been living here, that are taxpayers here in Canada. And how is it affecting us? Well, it's, first of all, you have immigrants and asylum seekers that are taking Canadian jobs, right? They're coming here, they're given money, they're given thousands of dollars, right? $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 per month just to immigrate to Canada. That is an insane incentive. If that's the case, why aren't unemployed Canadians or low-income Canadians being matched with their monthly money to meet that same amount? It just doesn't make any sense. Second of all, that money that immigrants are being paid is coming from somewhere, and that's coming from our taxpayer pool, or the billions of dollars that we contribute either in carbon tax or just our regular federal tax. That all goes into a massive bank account somewhere, and the government takes from that for their different social programs, the $10 a day childcare, which fails, and these programs, that programs, and they're spending all of this money on immigration, right? By bringing people in and by paying them to come here. And it's becoming more and more concerning, not just by me, but by millions of people. And it's just, it's a topic that if you discuss it, you're immediately deemed a racist because you're discussing it. Look, I have never ever once said that immigration is inherently bad, and I firmly believe, and that this belief could change, right? It could change given new evidence, but I've been raised with the belief that targeted immigration for jobs, vacancies that we have here in Canada, we need more, plumbers, electricians, we need more X, Y, and Z, right? You bring in people to fill those jobs, not you bring people in to take jobs away from Canadians. That is not a good system, and it fails. And that kind of begs a question. Well, why would Pierre Poilievre say that? Is he the only one that has incentivized more and more immigration? Well, no, Danielle Smith just recently did an interview, and it's turning a lot of heads, and people are kind of disappointed with this. So I shared this video. And the caption I shared is Danielle Smith really considering trying to double Alberta's population with immigration instead of focusing on reducing cost of living, reducing crime, and incentivizing Albertas to have many kids? And that'll make sense once I hit play.
That's why I've said, let's have an aggressive target to double our population. I'm going to put this out there because I've said that in the throne speech. So I want people to understand how important that is. We have to be that bastion of liberty, and people are going to want to come here. And we want to embrace them, and we want to be able to build this place out so that we can actually have the political clout in Alberta that we deserve. Because right now, we're being treated as a junior partner by Ottawa. And if we end up with the strongest economy, we'll double our oil production.
You want to go from rough numbers, you probably know the number better than me, 4.7 million, roughly?
We're almost at 5 million. We'll
okay.
Be at 5 million.
So you want to double it to 10 million?
Yeah, I do. That's why.
And it's just unclear if that is the way that she wants to double it is through immigration. It really seems like that's what that's what she's insinuating, but it's just unclear, and people are left kind of with their jaw hitting the floor going, well, what is going on? I mean, you have comments here saying, literally, Alberta was my last hope. This is devastating. You have another comment saying, you're replaceable to her. Your heritage and history means nothing to them, right? And it's very, very, very concerning. And I'd highly recommend everybody go and check this tweet out or this post on X and let me know what you guys think down in the comments, either of the post on X or down in the YouTube video here. And then you have something that just got updated here in the past couple of days where this vehicle, I don't know if you guys have seen that video, I'm not going to play the video, but a vehicle was blocked on either the highway or a main road by what seemed like either pro-Palestine protesters or just other radical protesters. And it seemed like it was pretty aggressive, right? People jumped in front of the truck and tried to stop it, tried to smash on the windows, and the vehicle took off. And it didn't, I don't believe it hurt anybody lethally, but people did get pushed out of the way because of a vehicle. That person got arrested, and it turns out that no charges for the driver arrested after driving through protest blockade in Toronto. I guess it was considered a form of self-defense. And now we're taking a look at some people are calling it invasion of Canada right here, but it's more like an unrecognizable version of Canada, where you have thousands of people that are out in the streets. This is the continuation of a video we saw earlier of all the prayers that were happening at Yonge and Dundas, and they're being met with protesters, counter-protesters. It just seems like tensions are very high across the country, especially when you have videos that come out like this, where people are launching smoke grenades on the bridges, and they're just absolutely out there in numbers and thousands of numbers, and we're approaching the 10 or 11 or even 1 year mark, or almost 10, 11 months that it's been that these protests have happened every single week, every single weekend, and they're continually doing that, costing taxpayers, again, millions and millions of dollars. So Canada has kind of turned into a place where anything goes, and the more radical it is, the more loony it is, then the more support they have from the government and from their politicians and the police, and especially if it's, people of color, or if it's foreign protests, because that makes sense. And the government doesn't want to be racist by saying anything about it, so they allow it. I mean, look at this. This has been going on and on and on, and people are fed up. I mean, where's the outcry of the noise? Where's the outcry of how annoying and inconvenient this is? The same type of claims that were made from, the Freedom Convoy, or any denomination of the Freedom Convoy protests that happen. It's just not met with the same amount of resistance. It's highly, highly encouraged, apparently, but we're going to have to wait and see if these do continue in the winter. You have the top comment on this last video saying, going to be funny to see them in -20 winter. Will they start a fire to keep warm? What else will they do? What else will the government do? And I just like to take this time right now at the end of the video to ask you guys, what do you think about all of this? Any of the topics that were covered in this video? Let me know what you guys think down below. That's where we're going to end the video. On your way out, I would like to encourage you guys to smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't yet already, and we will see you in the next one. Bye for now.